Let's start off by talking about the roles men and women played in the hunter-gatherer families. Men would leave the family for long periods of time to catch large animals. This is the only way that they were able to hunt and find food. Women, on the other hand, were responsible for finding fruits, nuts, and small prey. A major role women played in these hunter-gatherer families was that they were responsible for their children. This was a full-time job as children did not work or hunt. Men and women tended to stay in one location at a time because of a nearby source of food. This marked the beginning of marriage. This union was used in many other types of families, and of course it is still used today. Now, in agricultural families, they had a different concept and a different routine in how they found their food. Animals were hunted, and plants were grown, eliminating the quest for finding food on a regular basis. The more land meant more money, as people who were unable to grow and harvest food would purchase goods from ones who could. Marriage has also changed as monogamy became more common. Having more than one partner meant that families were unorganized, because the inheritance of property would also be unorganized. Men became the decision makers as they were considered to be the most intelligent. Women were now treated as property instead of human beings. The decision-making men also played a large role in who the children would marry. Even after marriage, young adults lived in parents' households due to the need for agriculture. This caused the form of extended families. Pre-industrial families took quite a turn from agricultural families. Men who did not have land moved to cities so that they could find work. Men became builders, merchants, and soldiers. Many domestic servants who were learning craft or trade learned from these fathers, which changed the roles in not only families but also society. Urban industrial families were quite different from agricultural and pre-industrial families. Economic survival depended on all the family members, including the children, to work. While the little boys were working on farms, the little girls were now servants to other families. Violence began to grow towards children and women as there was barely any legal protection. In urban industrial families, not only did the roles of men and women change, but also the roles of children. Motherhood was considered sacred, and the primary role of a woman was to be able to take care of her children. The need for children to work decreased significantly compared to the pre-industrial families. Education became compulsory for students at the age of 14 and under in Ontario. Child abuse laws and child labor laws were finally passed, and a home was no longer a place for violence. New factory jobs paid so well that children were able to get married at a younger age. Working class women earned one-third less than the average male salary. Families began to get smaller, and children had to be supported until they became adults. A modern consumer family is still a family you see today. Women were considered to be fragile and weak, while males were aggressive and tough. Shows influenced and reflected the roles of men and women in the family. These were also the baby boomer years. A woman would have an average of 4 children each. The roles men and women play in the Canadian contemporary family may be looked down upon in agricultural families and pre-industrial families. Families found it difficult to use just one paycheck, so women began to work. 81% of these mothers were employed, and 74% of them were mothers. The new laws also changed the roles of men and women, such as divorce laws, causing women to be less dependent on their spouses. Having sex before marriage and birth control had become accepted in the society. There were also many immigrants coming to Canada, which means that they brought back their culture from where they came from to Canada. Some families include transitional families, income families, and blended families. These are the